Now that we've looked at some basic warm-up stuff in terms of simplifying and solving, we're going to take a look at quadratic relations. This is something that you started looking at in the grade 10 curriculum last year, and so we're going to build on that. So just a quick review of some quadratic relations. The graph of a quadratic relationship is always in a certain shape, and that shape is called a parabola, which looks like a U. Okay, and so it's always in the shape of a parabola. Okay, and so again, that shape is in the shape of a U, and that's either opening up or it could open down. Okay, and so there are also some key features that you would have talked about last year, and the first one is known as a vertex. And the vertex is always either the lowest point or the highest point on a parabola. It's actually the point where the parabola changes direction. Okay, and instead of going down at the vertex, it starts going up. Or opposite, instead of going up at the vertex, it turns right back down. Okay, and so the vertex for this particular parabola is actually located right here in the blue. Okay, it's at the very bottom of this particular parabola. And so the coordinates of the vertex, in this case, are 3, 5. Okay, because we always indicate our x-coordinate and then our y-coordinate first. Okay, so again, we always do the x-coordinate and then the y-coordinate. So the vertex is a really important point of any parabola, and we're going to keep coming back to the vertex over and over in both the unit quadratics 1 and the unit quadratics 2. And it's so important because there are other things pieces of information that you can pull from that position. And so one of those things that we can get from the vertex is either the minimum or the maximum value, which we will also call the optimum value. And we can use those terms interchangeably. Minimum, max, or optimum value, they are the same thing. And so the minimum value or the maximum value is always the y-coordinate of the vertex. Okay, and so that means that it's either the lowest or the highest point on a given parabola. Okay, so in this case, this particular parabola, which is an upward-facing U, it actually has a minimum value. It has a lowest value that we can see, and that actually happens at when y is equal to 5. Okay, so when at the vertex, the y-coordinate or the y position of the vertex is always the minimum or maximum value. If the parabola opens up, then it's a minimum value. If it opens down, then it's a maximum value. So in this particular example, we have a minimum value for this parabola. Okay. The direction of opening, again, it's either going to open up or down. And so it will always either open up or down for our purposes. And so in this particular parabola, it clearly opens up. Okay, we will also look at parabolas that open down, but in this particular example, this one opens up. And then the last thing that we want to be aware of is both what we call the x and the y intercepts. And an intercept happens when a line or a parabola crosses one of either the x-axis or the y-axis. So the x-axis is this line right here, and the y-axis is this line right here. Okay, and so obviously where the x and the y-axis meet is the origin or the zeros. But in this particular example, we want to see, well, does this parabola cross either the x-axis or the y-axis? And if it does, where does it do it? Okay, and in this particular instance, the parabola does actually cross or intersect with or intercept the y-axis. So there is a y-intercept. Okay, and so I'm going to say that the y-intercept is equal to, in this case, approximately positive 15. You will also get situations where you will have an x-intercept, okay, where the parabola will actually cross the x-axis. So let's say you had a parabola that started up here and then opened down. Okay, you would then have an x-intercept at this location and at this location. However, for the parabola that we have here in purple, there actually is no x-intercept at all. And so the x-intercept is nil. It doesn't exist. Okay, so there is no x-intercept at all for this particular parabola. Okay, but as we go through the next couple of units, you will see x-intercepts quite frequently.